my friends, I'm Rick, and this is your seat at the table. And sitting here on the floor is little Missy. She's behaving herself. It's you. What are you looking at the door for? I tell you what, you guys really, really ought to see the carpet in front of the door over here. This little shit fuck has literally tore a strip of carpet about 4 inches wide, and so far it's almost to the end of it. It started at the far right of the door, and that's almost to the left of the door. And this is so she can see under the door, and she's been working at this for months. It's just driving us nuts. I mean, because you can't stop her. You can't stop her. Our goal is, like I said, is the last few weeks, I'm not putting her in the cat carrier these days because she's doing real well. She's behaving herself. She does come up here a little bit, but she doesn't give me any grief when I put her down, and I don't want no problems from her. Yeah, I don't. Yes, I don't. Yeah, right there. Yeah, right there. Yeah. Yeah, are we being feisty? I don't want to play with you because I'm not quite sure. I don't want to encourage her because they get excited easily, and she's half feral at this point. And I'm not trying to, The other day I was bringing her in the room, and I was holding her up like this, and she's been letting us do this with carrying her, and I started making little noises behind her head like I do one of the other cats, and she wasn't having it. She turned out and smacked me in the face. Gotta go what you gotta go. So we're still looking at a game not traveled, or my would-be interstellar frontiers. On the positive side of things, let's talk about that for just a second. Right? Is that I've actually made quite a bit of progress on the core book, the revision of the core book that I've been slowly grinding out. I'm currently at page 74. I've managed. It's easy to sit there and say, well, you should do this and you should do that, until you actually put yourself in the chair and have to deal with all this. Those charts are extensive and thick and deep. So it takes a lot of time to replicate them. And then there's the never ending habit of mine of tweaking things. So I'll add new stuff that wasn't in the originals, or I'll tweak some of the original stuff because I think it needs tweaked in my mind. I've played it enough now to believe that particular event should not exist, or it should be altered in some way or enhanced in some way. And so when things have been slow the last month or so at work, I'm just bringing my damn shit with me. I bring it up there and I'm working on it, killing time. I got to get at least 40 hours in, and I could be up there doing other brainless, stupid crap, and they wouldn't say nothing. So, unless they give me grief about it, I don't think a half hour here and maybe an hour there is going to make a difference, but it sure makes a lot of difference on making progress. The other thing is peace and quiet. I can do that at the office, and usually nobody's there at that point. I finished my paperwork up, and I want to do this for a little bit and then go home. And so it's just me, and there's no distractions, no interruptions, no, when you're trying to focus on stuff and you got somebody that's just, and then all the other drama and pseudo drama that goes on in the household, it just is hard to do that. So that's what I've been doing, and so we're making some progress. It's still got a long way to go. I'm just being honest. 74 pages out of 500 pages. We got a ways to go yet, right? But we're getting there. So what we are now looking at is we've had this samurai and his protege, or his or her protege, on the planet for a couple cycles now. And I sent one of my I don't remember who I sent it. Go back in the notes, but I sent somebody down and talked to them on the first cycle to see if they were looking for jobs. And I think it was the head of my Secret Service. And so I thought, okay, well they didn't want a job with them. So let's send the intelligence ministry. So we're going to send our intelligence minister. Is 10% modifier versus the samurai for the negotiation. Yeah, I would not want my Minister of Intelligence to get into a street fight with these two yahoos. They're like, take his head off and kill him. Just saying. So, our street samurai, where did I have it? Where did I have it? I have to look it up anyway. Yeah. about the same. They come out, so it comes out to be a wash percentage wise. So first thing first, will samurai speak with minister? So we got a 0 modifier applied right out. The red's going to be my 10s today. So 44. Is they hesitate. Hesitant, yes. And we get, but we gain a +5 modifier we didn't have before. So they hesitate, but they're holding out for some kind of. So how that reads out is they hesitate, stall, or hold out for a better offer. So this is a hard, not a hesitant yes, a hard maybe, and you gain a +5% for your next question. So hard maybe. It's hard to read sometimes. It's hard to read sometimes. It just is what it is. So we're just going to assume he's listening, right? And so we need a sensei. Are you available? +5%. Red being 10s. So, geez, 20 +5 is 25%. They are reluctant. Showing hesitation. They attempt to avoid agreeing to the proposal without hurting their further negotiations. 0% modifier. If asked again, this event, so if we ask them again the same type of question, we get a -5% added. So at this point, we get what did I say it was? A 25, and that was soft maybe with a 0 modifier. This guy sure is playing hard to get. Will you agree if the house opens a dojo for you? Remember, 0 modifier, so red's being the 10. 97. That's a hard hit. Yeah. And the event's done. Final yes. Alright. So that's a success. Although it leaves a little bit, alright, the samurai and his or her students. And now I'm going to have to go back and see if I got the stat or what my stat said for the samurai and their assistant, and then establish them. So at this point, the house is going to go and, like I said, open a dojo, and in all intents purposes, basically what that involves is us designating a space someplace. We don't have any prefabs, but we do have space and commercial space available in our housing concern and other and government ministries. And since this is the intelligence ministry here, this individual is looking to set up a dojo for the intelligence ministry specifically, and not generally for the house. That would mean that my 007s and my red shirts would be able to get trained, get some specific training in whether it's martial arts. That's another thing we have to establish exactly what our street samurai specializes in, and what their resources and what their their outfit is. We need to trick them all the way out, because street samurai generally, as a rule, but not always, can be augmented by cybernetics and by bioorganics. So it's quite possible to have a quite organic specialist who's not enhanced in some way other than through practice and sheer ability. But most of the time you want to power up because we're in a powered up universe. A lot of very dangerous characters running around out there, and the higher your nobility factor goes, the more of those you will run into. Right now, at a squire level, it's very rare to run into, a Super Saiyan kind of character. But at a Duke scale level, that sort of stuff's on the board. It's just like a pirate fleet showing up with a light cruiser in charge is on the board at that level, as opposed to at our current level. We will never see that sort of pirate organization, except maybe at a distance in a glance, but it would not directly interact with the house because of our noble status modifier. That's why that modifier is important. It matters. The last thing at most, I can field maybe a company and a half of scattered forces, mostly from my various ministry agencies. And these aren't trained soldiers, they're trained specifically for what they do, but they could be used in an emergency. So maybe 50, 60, maybe 75 troops right off that I could put in a very, very bad situation, and they would be poorly armed, poorly armored, and unsupported because I just don't have anything yet. And against what? If you didn't have that negative modifier because you're being a squire, if somebody dropped a battalion scale unit on my colony, I'm fucked. The colony's, at that point, it's how do we negotiate with them? See, maybe they'll leave. We give them something and they'll go away. Otherwise, if they're here to occupy stuff, my house lord may now become a rebel, and it's a whole different game, and it's not really set up for that. At least I've never had but anybody or myself try to run that scenario where you're trying to regain your own home from a bad guy who took it from you. Right? Now that happens on your planets and smaller colonies. Those are events, but we don't generally allow that sort of crap at our capital until much later, much further down the road. If you get to that, you ever play that long? I mean, this game can take you years. I've got a guy that played it for 7 damn years, and as far as I know, I hear from him about once or twice a year, and he's still playing it. He's still screwing with it. So whether he's just telling me that or he's doing it, I don't know. But I take that as a good sign, right? So anyway, I'm Rick. This is Missy here somewhere, and until next time, you guys have yourself a great weekend, huh?